Hello and welcome back to my channel where I like to have fun with all things beauty while being critical about what I accept into my collection. Today I am doing a trying new makeup video. So that's not what I was supposed to be filming today. What I had originally planned to do today was a Sephora haul. So going through everything I bought in the sale, talking about what I thought was and wasn't worth it, showing swatches and demos and all of that. However, I don't have my whole order yet. So if you are familiar at all with this sale, the shipping tends to slow down. So a lot of times whatever you order immediately, like right when it starts, you get in a timely fashion. But as the sale goes on, the shipping gets slower and slower. I don't know that it's ever been this slow. And I can say I'm not waiting on anything that's important. I just added on a few lipsticks at the end, but I did want to include them. So I am going to go ahead and wait until those come. I don't think it's going to take me very long to figure out how I feel. It's more a shade thing. Because I wanted to wait for that, I sort of decided to do an impromptu trying on new makeup. This is all makeup that I did get during the Sephora sale. So I hope it doesn't turn out to be repetitive, but I thought it was a good opportunity for me to see if I could figure out how to change my setup and make it conducive to putting makeup on. So I'm always sort of explaining away all of the reasons why I can't do this, and it's mostly because I'm uncomfortable. So I'm going to do an experiment. This entire video is an experiment, and I'm going to see if I can turn the lights up high enough for me to be able to put eye makeup on. Eye makeup particularly, that's the thing that I struggle the most with in this room. But I brought in an extra light, so I'm going to turn all of the lights up. I'm going to see if I can figure out how to adjust the ISO so it's not blown out on your end, but if it is, I'm going to turn it up for the eyes and down for everything else. So hopefully between changing the lights and the camera settings, we get something that's usable. That's definitely my goal. My goal is to figure out how to do this because I know that's a lot of what people are interested in. They don't just want to see a review and look at photos. They want to watch the makeup in action. Those are a lot of the videos that I like to watch. So that's what I'm working on now. And today I am going to be using the new Huda palette, the Icy Nudes, this that I just picked up during the Sephora sale. I don't have a ton of looks with this yet. I have used this palette several times, but I always feel like I want to use Iced Out. That's the really special duochrome in the top left. It's stunning, but every time I reach for this, I want to use that shade. And the problem is it takes over the look. So if I just wanted to add it to my inner quarter or whatever, it's stunning. So it takes over the look in like a good way, but I just want to challenge myself and see if I could do a pretty look without relying on that shade. So that's where I'm going to start. I am going to have to turn the lights up. But before I do that, I also really quickly wanted to talk about what's coming up for the end of the year. So I know like this time of year, time just goes into like warp speed. I don't really know what happens, but I blink and it's the end of the year. So I wanted to make sure that I talked about what's coming up. So for sure, hopefully next week, I will be coming up with my Sephora haul, my total, my inventory, everything I got during the sale. I'm trying to do that before either their 20% off coupon comes out or Black Friday, because almost all of these brands that I'm talking about that I picked up during the sale are going to have their own deals. So it's useful even if you're not buying them from Sephora. So that's coming up next week. Then I'm going to do my favorites in every category. So I'm going to go through complexion, sunscreen, blush, foundation, concealer, all of that. And then I'm going to do a separate video where I'm ranking my eyeshadows. So that's going to be mostly indie eyeshadows. I was going to make two videos. I was going to do an indie video and then a regular eyeshadow video, but frankly, I don't have enough regular eyeshadow palettes. I don't buy a ton from mainstream brands these days, so I'm just going to keep it an all-in-one video, but it's definitely going to be indie brand focused. After that, I have two maybe videos. So I have a Black Friday Cyber Monday sale / gift guide that I'm contemplating. And then I'm also contemplating trying some complexion products from the brand Vive. I've heard that they have really good complexion stuff for dry skin, so it's definitely on the maybe list. The thing that's holding me back committing to the Cyber Monday Black Friday sale guide is just because I don't really know that I am well informed enough to do a whole video about that, but those are just two ideas. So 3 videos coming up for sure, 2 maybes, and then that's it. That's kind of the end of the year. It's crazy. I'm going to be leaving my house around the 19th or the 18th, 19th, 20th, somewhere around there, because we're traveling up north for the holidays. On top of that, we're having our house re-tented for termites. I don't know if you were here for this, but earlier in the year, we had our house tented. And the reason that was such a big deal is because I live in Florida and it gets really hot and humid. So even though they told me that it was safe to leave my makeup in the house during the gassing for the termites, which I'm on the fence about how I really feel about how safe that is, but regardless, they told me it was okay. I thought about it, but then when they told me that we were going to turn the AC off and leave the house tented for like 48 to 72 hours, the level of heat and humidity that was going to get inside the house was way too much for my makeup collection. I spent too much money on my makeup. Like, I'm not leaving my motherships in a place that's just a recipe for mildew. Like, absolutely not. So I chose to pack everything up. It was harrowing, to say the least. I had to go through all of my stuff and basically pack it in between blankets, because luckily we had a friend that let me put all of these suitcases in their house, so we didn't have to like take it into a hotel or anything with us, but it had to travel. So it was quite a messy ordeal. So I'm not happy, to say the least, that I have to do that again. It's going to be much cooler this time around because we're doing it in December, but regardless, it's going to get too hot for me to leave my stuff here. So I have to do that again. And because that involves essentially packing all of my belongings that I would be using to make these videos, I'm going to have to cut it off probably around December 15th. So I would say I'm probably going to have to go on a hiatus between December 15th and January 15th. I'm going to try to do something in between that time so it's not absolutely nothing, but at the very least, it's certainly not going to be the 2 videos a week that I've been trying to maintain. So that's everything that's on the agenda. And this is actually going to be, if this goes up, if this video makes it, this is going to be my 99th video. So my next video being my 100th video, I'm sort of on the fence. I'm not totally sure what I want to do for that. I want to commemorate it in some way because this has been a really long journey for me. I am not somebody who is naturally comfortable on camera in any type of way. So for me to actually follow through with starting this, it was a big deal. It was difficult. It was a hard thing for me to do. But before my last birthday, I made a commitment to myself that I wasn't going to just give up before I ever tried. So this is me trying. And I don't know where it's going to go. I was really hoping to be a little bit further along by this point, by 100 videos, but you know, there's a lot of people doing this right now. So I'm not surprised that it's sort of taking a long time, and frankly, I'm not a natural. I'm not a natural at this. So I knew it was going to be a long journey on just from a technical standpoint also. So for that video, I might do a Q&A. The reason I'm on the fence is because I don't know if enough people care. You know, I've done a few videos that were not just beauty, and they don't get a lot of views. So I don't know. I mean, part of me wants to do it because frankly, it'll be my way to like celebrate all the hard work and do something that doesn't require a lot of B-roll. I mean, some of my videos with the B-roll addition, me not knowing necessarily what I'm doing and using, you know, free editing software, some of my videos have taken 10 hours or more to edit, and like I don't mind the editing process that much, but right now I'm dealing with a bout of insomnia, so I take medication for that when it gets really bad, but when I take the medication it gives me headaches. So you know, nobody cares. My point is, it's hard for me to spend all night on the computer right now, especially this week. So I might, for my 100th video, sort of take it easy on myself, do something with no B-roll so it's nice and easy to edit, and then just sort of see how that goes. And then my very next video will be a lot more content forward and specific. So long way of saying that's everything coming up right now. So this is the last video this week. Next week will be my 100th video and my Sephora haul. After that will be my best of and ranking. And then whatever, whatever feels right after that before I pack everything up. And I'm sure at the very least I'll take pictures because my collection is massive because I can't throw things away. So I'll share some photos of the packing and talk about how all that went. And I will stop rambling now and I will get to putting on this eyeshadow. So hopefully this goes all right. I'm going to fast forward through a bunch because I definitely have a problem talking and doing makeup. All right, so unfortunately that didn't work out. When I brought in the extra light, it made everything look really yellow, and I wasn't really expecting that because in real life the light does not look yellow. That's how it appeared on camera, so I don't think that was useful. I'm gonna instead pop up a close-up of my eye look along with the shades I used to get to the look. So I am popping in from the future really quick. I just thought I should mention, since I'm talking about the Huda palette today, I thought I would quickly talk about the Huda Beauty sale that's going on right now. This is the same sale as they did last year, so it's up to 80% off. It's the Cyber Craze. I'm not sure exactly the length, but if I find that information, I'll pop it on the screen now. I think it opens to the public in a few days, but the whole sort of excitement around this is that the really crazy good deals always sell out first. So I would say if you're interested in this sale, definitely sign up to the website because that's all you have to do to get early access. I'm not sure how it's gone this year, but I know there was a huge mess last year because the website was malfunctioning. So like myself, for example, even though I was already a member, I signed up like years ago for some discount. I wasn't able to access the sale. I do think that's fixed this go around. I haven't heard anybody complain about that, but the website is still a bit of a mess. So like I went on just a few minutes ago to see what I had ordered, and just to access my account and then see my order took forever. It worked. It's just quite slow. I would say if you go on there and you have that problem, just know that you're in the majority because I think most people are having a little bit of an issue. I would say looking through everything, I think there's like 150 items. Nothing really jumped out as being so crazy worth it to me personally. I think the biggest difference is if these fragrances matter to you, I think it's a great time to pick those up. I've tried the sampler set. I think during this sale last year I got the sampler set and I liked it. I thought all of the fragrances were nice, but none of them really called out to me as being something I needed a full bottle of. Regardless, a ton of people, and a lot of new scents have come out since then. So I would say this is a good sale for fragrance. Most of the fragrances are, the travel size up to 50% off. Most of the newer items are much less discounted. It's the older stuff and the stuff that they're discontinuing. So I picked up a bunch of Wishful blushes and bronzers. Those are all going away permanently. So they're just trying to get rid of the inventory. So they were super cheap. I'm always curious. The curiosity got to me. I certainly didn't need any more blush, but I did pick those up. I was really heavily considering picking up the Pretty Grunge palette. That is $41.40. That and Empowered. They're both $41, so they're 40% off. But I held off because I know that I have too many eyeshadow palettes. I have some of her older palettes, the Rose Quartz, for example. I really like that palette. That's a beautiful palette. But I never reach for it because I have similar color stories that I just like a little bit better. And there's a reason I didn't get these when they first came out. And as much as I think they're solid and they're pretty and I would use them a few times and like them, I just know that ultimately they're not worth it for me. So I skipped on that. I think the other thing worth mentioning is their concealer. A lot of people really like their concealer. I have it and I liked it. It was just a little bit dry. And because of that, I'm never going to reach for that. I'd say if you have more oily skin though, if you have more oily skin, a ton of Huda's products probably work for you, including the powder that everybody loves. My super dry skin really can't handle any of it, but I think those are the most popular products. I would say if you're more like me, if you have skin similar to me, instead of the Huda concealer, I think now would be the perfect time to pick up the Natasha Denona concealer because that's my second favorite concealer. and that is also on sale for Black Friday right now. I believe that is $22, give or take, so it's about the same price as this. Yeah, the Huda is $23.25 at 25% off. I don't remember the exact discount, but when I checked the Natasha Denona Black Friday, because that's up now, you can look on the website, and I think I saw that that was $22 also. So that's my preference. Speaking of the Natasha Denona sale, I feel like when I looked through on the website, nothing really jumped out at me other than the concealer. I think the midi palettes being 35 to 40% off when you buy two could be a good deal, but only if you were very seriously considering getting two midi palettes. I think if you have the palettes that you feel like you need from Natasha Denona, it's just not a good deal. I personally feel like her newer palettes are the only ones that have the formula that I want, so I'm not looking to pick up any of the older stuff and sort of complete my collection. Unlike Pat McGrath, I felt like I could do that with Pat McGrath because her formula was so solidly consistent until recently. Her formula, all of the motherships, the formulas were spectacular. So I could go back and get older palettes and I never had to think about the formula. That's not how I feel about Natasha Denona. I love the formula now, but I don't like her older palettes. So I don't need any of those. And any of the other ones that came out, I feel like if I really wanted them, I would have gotten them by now. So I'm not going to let myself spend too much time browsing over there because I know there's nothing that I need. I already have the concealer, so I'm good. The only other thing on there that I think is kind of worth it is the 3 mini bundle. So you can get 3 of the mini palettes for a good percentage off. And if you don't have a lot of those, I always think those are worth it. I love those little palettes. They're perfect for travel. The formulas are great. Every one except for the holiday with the green and the mustard yellow that came out a couple years ago. That formula was like not good. Outside of that, they've all been fantastic. So I'd recommend that if you're in the market for it. But if not, you're not going to miss out. Natasha Denona has actually been on 50% off over at GMA Deals in the past. That happened for the first time a few months ago. So that could very easily happen again in the future. And that had mini palettes, sorry, my dogs are losing their minds right now. The midi palettes by themselves, so you only have to buy one, were 50% off. So keep that in mind. You don't have to buy it now just because it's on sale. There are other sales and you only save money if you were actually going to buy it in the first place. So that's a good thing for me to remind myself as we enter this time of year. So now we're just going to move on. I don't really need the extra light to do the rest. So for my base makeup, I'm using NARS. I have the shades Patagonia and Mont Blanc. Unfortunately, I don't really have a good shade match in NARS, so I always have to mix two. Right now, Patagonia is somewhat close, but it's a little bit too dark. So I'm using 2 pumps of that and 1 pump of Mont Blanc, which is much too light on its own. I think it would be easier for me to get away with Patagonia, but it's by no means my shade. So mixing these two, I get like an okay shade match. It's really the formula that I love so much. And you know, they have a big shade range, so I'm sort of surprised that I can't find anything that works better than this, but I do finish both bottles, so it's not like I'm wasting my money. They last twice as long this way, so it's not the end of the world. All right, my trusty Kosas and Kulfi concealer combo. This has been my absolute favorite combination for a long time now. This is another example of the fact that I use both, so I finished both. Unlike most things that I need to buy 2 different shades in, these are things that I actually use enough to make it worth it. Oh, and in this I have the Kosas in 2.3N and the Kulfi in Cocoa Crush. All right, I'm gonna go blend this in with a damp sponge and I will be right back. All right, so now I'm gonna go in with my mini Westman Atelier for contour. I'll definitely get another one of these when I run out, but it seems to last a long time. I also don't do a lot of contouring, so it should last me a long time. but I do use it every day. I'm going to go in with the Charlotte Tilbury Bronze and Glow. I love the bronzer of this palette. I never use the highlight, but it's such a light, easygoing bronzer type of shade. I'm going to use a little bit of the Gucci bronzer in shade 1. This is the new shade that I picked up during the sale. I'm still on the fence about this. I feel like the, buttery texture of it makes it a little bit patchy, and it means that it can lean muddy sometimes, but I haven't found that to be an issue with the lighter shade. The deeper shade, the shade 02, was basically unusable for me because it just looked gross. It looked like I had dirt on my face. I don't feel that way about this, but if I was telling somebody else whether or not I thought they should buy it, I would say no. I think there are better bronzer formulas that are just easier. You don't have to think so much. Like with this one, I feel like I really have to make sure that it's blended, that I use a light hand, that I'm using the right brush. All of those things come into play. Whereas I've had other bronzers where I just put it on my face. Like the Pat McGrath bronzer, for example. I have the shade Nude Honey as part of a palette. Like I don't have the standalone bronzer, but it's part of a trio from a holiday set a few years ago. I love that bronzer because I could just slap it on my face. I don't have to think twice about it. I don't think it's worth paying full price for that either, but I like that bronzer better, if all things were considered equal. I mean, for some people, the presentation of this is worth something. For others, it's not. So it's sort of an individual choice. Me personally, I don't think the formula is anything to go out of your way for. Now I'm going to use my favorite blush pickup from the sale. So my two favorite picks were the Charlotte Tilbury Blush Wand in Pillow Talk, the matte blush. I really like that color because I found it to be unique even within my big collection of blush, and I like the formula of it, but I've been using it a lot. So today I'm going to reach for my second favorite, which is the Westman Atelier. I got the little trio, the gift set. The only shade I'm not going to reach for a ton is Pop It, but sheared out I can use that, so I can use all three. I've been interested in trying Mimi for a long time, but I do feel like it gets washed out, especially on camera, so I'm going to use two. I'm going to use Mimi and Petal together. So I'm going to put Mimi on first. I think the best way I could describe these blushes is similar to how a lot of people talk about the Hourglass blushes. So I've said for a long time, and I've now heard other people say this as well, that with the Hourglass blushes, they don't differ that much. So I feel like no matter what eye look I have, if I was playing like a game with my makeup, like spin the bottle, where you spin the thing and it lands on whatever makeup it lands on and you just have to make it work. No matter what crazy eye makeup or anything else, crazy lip, whatever else I have going on my face, if I have an Hourglass blush, I can make it work. It's like just super versatile in that sense. And it's not that it's not pigmented or it's not present. It's just like somehow always neutral. Like it's always neutral and easygoing. No matter what else I have going on my face, I just know that I can make an Hourglass blush work. That's very much how I feel about these. They're just easygoing and pretty. I guess if I were to be like super nitpicky, I might like the tiniest bit more luminosity, but I can use a highlight and get the same effect. So I don't think that it's totally necessary, and I feel like too, a lot of times when blushes have luminosity, especially a cream or a liquid, it takes away from the longevity, and sometimes it makes it so it doesn't play well with whatever else is on your face. So this is just a real solid, easygoing, works with everything type of formula. Just a kiss of Pat McGrath bronzer, and then I'm going to throw some Charlotte Tilbury Wedding Bells on my lips, and I'm going to top that with the Giorgio Armani in the Prismaglass in shade 7 Nude Glow. This is such a beautiful gloss. I had overlooked this, but Hope Mess Tom had a review where they showed close-ups and the dimensions of the shimmer in here. It's beautiful. And I never would have even noticed it. It seemed like just another lip gloss, but it's absolutely not. I'm so glad that I picked this up. It's gorgeous. And actually, I picked up some other lip glosses recently that reminded me not all lip gloss is created equal. The other ones that I picked up are quite sticky, and even though they're pretty, they're not bad, and they're tenacious. They stay on the lips. I forgot how annoying sticky lip gloss is. And, you know, I wear my hair up most days, but like if I ever didn't, forget it. I would never be able to handle that. Tiny bit of Givenchy powder. This is in the Rose shade. All right, now I'm not gonna forget to put brows on. I don't know what it is. This is just the Benefit Brow Pomade. I like it because it's fast. All right, now I'm gonna douse myself in some Hourglass spray. I always forget, like sometimes the first spray can be a little thick. The spray's nice. It has a nice mister. It's just sometimes that initial spray can come out a little harsh. So I used to always remember to spray the first one in the sink. But regardless, that sort of helps, you know, unify the powder and the creams. And that is it for today. So these are all of my favorite picks from the Sephora sale. I really didn't get any duds. A lot of these are repurchases, and you know, these are the things that have stood the test of time. So the things that I keep coming back for and that I enjoy putting on my face. So that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for bearing with me. And like I said, I have some more planned out videos coming up, and I hope you'll stick around for that. I hope you're taking care of yourselves wherever you are. I love you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.